The plan was simple. Hit the vault, grab the cash, and vanish before the security team even noticed. Suddenly, the vault's lights flickered and an alarm blared. Terry's face went pale.
It's fail-safe. The system detected an intrusion and activated a secondary alarm.
Guys, we need to get out, now! Can you shut it down? Leo was the muscle and did the heavy lifting. Leo grabbed the bag of cash and started towards the exit, but Terry was frozen, his eyes wide with fear. Terry was a top hacker and tech guru. He took care of the security cameras and signal blockings.
I can't stop it. The alarm will call the authorities in minutes.
It was time to weigh our options. We had to make sacrifices. And as much as I didn't want to risk any of my teammates, it didn't look like I had a choice. Leo, get the bags into the car. Terry, we have to leave now. We don't have a choice.
We came all this way. If we don't leave with the money, let's at least remove all traces of our presence here. No need to go to jail for a couple $1,000.
There's no time for that. The police will be here any minute now.
Just go. Save yourselves.
No, I'm not leaving you behind. We can escape if we leave now. For Pete's sake, leave everything and let's go, Terry!
Our faces are on the cameras. I need to clear any traces of our presence here. I don't know about you, Max, but I'm not going to jail.
We all will if you don't come with me right now!
Just go! I'll be fine. Now!
We heard the distant wail of sirens as we burst out of the bank and ran into the night. We were almost home free when a patrol car rounded the corner. We sprinted through the alleyways with our hearts pounding. I glanced back at the bank, now lit up like a Christmas tree with police cars converging on it. Terry's last words kept playing over and over again. We managed to reach our hideout in time and dump the bag of cash on the table. It was nowhere near the $10 million we would have gotten from the vault. For the first time in a long time, I felt defeated and exhausted. Leo slumped into a chair, staring at the cash.
Not even up to $500,000. Was it worth it?
I shook my head. No, it wasn't. We lost Terry, and we barely made off with anything.
What do you think is going to happen to Terry? If the police get him, he's definitely gonna talk.
I didn't care about Terry talking and exposing us. What gutted me the most was that we had to leave him behind. I trusted Terry, and I knew he wouldn't talk. He knows the rules. He won't talk. And knowing Terry, he probably found a way out before the police got into the building. That was all I could hope for. That Terry made a getaway before the police entered the bank. I had to focus on the future. We had to lay low for a while. The heist had gone catastrophically wrong, and the weight of our failure was heavy on me. We had pulled over 10 heists, and they had been a walk in the park.
I wonder what went wrong. We've done this several times. We'll have to be super careful with the next one.
Next one? I don't think I ever want to pull off a heist again, or if we'll even be free long enough to try. Our record of 10 successful heists had been broken. The heist had unraveled, leaving Leo and I to face the consequences of our failed plans and the loss of our teammate. If only that was all. As I unfortunately discovered later, the worst was yet to come. 2 days after the heist, I was still unsettled and wary. We hadn't gotten word from Terry. I stayed glued to my TV waiting to hear that our identities had been found and that the police were on the hunt for us. But there was nothing. The only report was that the police had found evidence of a break-in, but no one was identified or arrested. I felt a sense of relief that Terry had indeed escaped before they got in. But what if they had killed him and hadn't reported it? That was when the nightmare started for me. I saw Terry everywhere. If he had escaped, why hadn't he contacted any of us? A loud knock on the door jarred me from my thoughts. Oh no, the police! My first thought was to get the heck out of there, but the part of me that could still think straight compelled me to see who was at the door. Besides, if it really was the police, I would have heard their sirens blaring around my trailer. The knock got louder, and I braced myself and opened the door. Leo flew in with sweat dripping down his face. What is it?
You haven't heard?
Heard what?
Terry's dead. He was shot by one of the cops yesterday.
The color drained from my face as I stared at Leo in disbelief. My worst fears had finally come to pass. But wait, I didn't see or hear any of that in the news. Are you sure about that? How do you know?
I had to go with my dad to sign a few things for my cousin who just got paroled. I heard some of the cops talking about a break-in at a bank and how they shot at one of the robbers.
The bank we hit last night?
I don't know, man. They didn't say. They just said that the guy shot at them, and while pursuing him, he was shot and killed.
Leo looked at me, and I could see fear written all over his face. I was scared too, and angry at myself for the loss of my friend.
Max, I don't feel safe at all. Maybe we should leave town. What if the cops come after us?
Calm down, Leo. I don't think they saw us. Remember, we left before they got into the building. I need to find out if Terry is really dead. We can't just leave. We have to tell his mom at least.
Are you crazy? Tell her what? That her son was shot during an attempted bank robbery that we were a part of? Do we also tell her that we abandoned him and ran away?
I'm not leaving without first finding out the truth. I sounded more courageous than I felt. I understood Leo's fears, but I couldn't just leave. I built this team, and I had to look out for them. Besides, robbing the bank was my idea. And now Terry was probably dead because of me. I thought back to the time we decided to start hacking and robbing banks. Leo and Terry had done everything to dissuade me, but I was defiant. We were the best students in science class, and I felt we had to use our talents to make money for ourselves. I had always been somewhat of a rebel. Growing up in foster homes had made me hard. I had always looked out for myself, and thankfully, I had been smart enough to stay out of trouble until now. Perhaps it was time I paused and turned a new leaf. I never really wanted this life. I just felt I had no choice.
Max! Max? Did you hear that?
I shook myself out of my thoughts and listened. Someone was knocking on the door.
It's the police! Oh, we're done!
Max! Max! Open the door!
I almost jumped out of my skin at the sound of Terry's voice. I hurriedly opened the door. Terry rushed in and shut it. Terry! Gosh! I thought you were dead! Boy, am I glad to see you. Why didn't you call? Leo looked at Terry as though he had seen a ghost.
You almost drove us crazy thinking you were dead!
Whatever gave you that idea? I told you I would get out, didn't I?
What happened? Where have you been?
I've been in shock. I almost got caught. As soon as I finished removing all our footprints and evidence, I hightailed it out of there. I hid in the bushes until morning and headed to my sister's. I've been there since.
Man, this is the closest we've ever come to getting caught. We're gonna have to be super careful next time.
No, we don't. This is it. No more bank heists. We're all smart, and we can get good jobs. I'm sorry I brought you guys into this, but this has shown me how important being honest is. I don't ever want to lose you guys because of a dumb stunt like this. What if we did get caught, or worse? Terry looked at me and smiled. Leo sighed in relief. I knew they were happy with my decision. For the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. I felt like I had something more to live for. I could do a lot of good with my skills, and I wanted to make my life count for something. And you know what? We all got accepted into MIT. Leo and Terry's jaws dropped, their eyes wide with disbelief.
What? No way! Best university in the world!
Are you serious? How did that happen?
I couldn't keep a straight face any longer and burst out laughing. Nah, I'm just messing with you guys. Can you imagine? 3 ex-wannabe bank robbers at MIT? We'd probably try to hack the vending machines for free snacks. We all laughed, the tension of the past few days finally breaking. As our laughter faded, I looked at my friends and felt a renewed sense of purpose. We may not be headed to MIT, but with our skills and this second chance, the future suddenly seemed full of legitimate possibilities. And that was worth more than any vault we could have robbed.
In every good comic book story, there must be a villain. And in the comic book story of my life, it was Rex. But the trouble with real-life villains is that they don't wear capes or monologue about their evil plans. They just show up every day and make your life a living hell. Rex and I weren't always enemies. There was a time when he was my neighbor, and we grew up playing together. But then one day, my dad won a lottery, got rich, and we moved to the richer part of town. And things just got weird between us.
Oh look, the rich guy's here in his big rich car with his tall, rich chauffeur. What are you trying to do, huh? Make us all feel like we're losers and you're better than us?
That was the beginning of Rex's reign of terror. If there was an opportunity to shove me into a locker, trip me in the hallway, or call me names, he didn't miss it. I wanted to fight back, but that boy was massive. His biceps were like tree trunks, and his scowl could stop a clock. Next to him, I looked like an ant. Everyone was scared of Rex, and since he hated me, no one dared speak to me. I even tried to switch schools, but my dad told me to face my fears like a man. So yeah, I mostly spend my time alone drawing and staying far away from Rex, but he always found me.
Look, everybody! Liam drew his imaginary friends!
No, that's Captain Teddy and his sidekick Ducky.
Looks like your mom, honestly.
His cape is blown over his shoulder as he holds off the meteorite. That's not a dress. Give me my book back.
Or what? You're gonna hit me, pretty boy? You can try, but you'd fail, and I'll puncture your face so badly, your rich dad will lose all his money to give you plastic surgery that won't work because it'll only make you more ugly.
That's enough, Rex.
I turned around and saw Poppy walk towards us. She was the prettiest girl in my class and my all-time crush. I saw her for the first time in middle school and instantly fell in love, but I never really had the courage to tell her that.
Stop bullying him. Pick on someone your own size. There you go. Are you okay?
I nodded my head like an obedient dog, and Poppy just brushed my hair and walked away. Wait, why did that feel insulting? She thought I was weaker than Rex, which I was, but I didn't want my crush to know that. I had to do something to redeem my image, so I decided to man up and ask Poppy out. I sat up all night, made a beautiful portrait for her, wrote a sweet message, and slipped the drawing in her locker while she was in her violin classes. After class, I rushed to see her reaction, but when I arrived, the portrait was stuck to Poppy's locker, and it had horns and fangs drawn all over it. Poppy,
I've never been so insulted in my life before. What did I ever do to you?
I didn't do this.
It has your name, doofus, and no one in this school can draw as well as you. I should have just let Rex beat you to a pulp that day.
And with that, Poppy just burst into tears and ran away. I was still confused when I saw Rex snickering in the corner. I walked up to him, my fists balled up. What's your problem, huh? Why do you hate me?
I just don't like your face. It reminds me of my old cat who scratched my hand. I hated that little thing, so I left her in the park one day, but she crawled her way back, and my dad went mental looking after her. He ignored me. Can you imagine getting replaced by a cat? Anyway, I hated that cat. You look like her, so I hate you too. What are you gonna do about it?
Rex would have hit me if the teacher didn't walk in. And 2 days later, I found out that he was dating Poppy. It made my blood boil. But did I do anything about it? Nope. I decided to ignore everything and carry on with my day. Life at school was miserable enough already, and I secretly poured my heart and soul into creating comics, and my most favorite one was Star Sketcher, about a boy who saves the world with his magic paintbrush from a menacing alien bully. I carried my work everywhere with me. So one day, when my art teacher saw it, he was so impressed, he pushed me to apply to this top art school in New York.
You're one of the most talented students in our school. Show some confidence in your work.
Yeah, I don't think I have any. Besides, who would even want to read stuff like this? Turns out a lot of people. Because the next day, my art teacher displayed one of my short comics in the school hallway, and everyone adored it.
Hey, Liam, love your comics. Please, make a character for me too.
And me, I don't even mind posing for you. Are you free this Friday?
I was basking in all the attention. I barely noticed Rex climbing into the elevator with me. Before I could get out, he pushed the stop button, took me by the collar, and shoved me against the elevator door. What are you doing?
Knocking sense into you. I saw your stupid comic, and this alien you wrote about sounds pretty familiar, right? Was it me?
Don't be silly. He's Dex, not Rex. And you're not green, are you? And you certainly don't have horns. You do have unusually thick brows, though. Have you considered going to a salon?
You think you're funny? You're nothing but a pathetic loser hiding behind your stupid comics.
My comics are not stupid. People love them. I'm popular now, probably more than you. Is that what's bothering you? That people think I'm cool and not the nerd you want me to be? Are you jealous?
Your mom's jealous, buttface.
And with that, he picked up my bag, took out my comic, and shredded it to pieces. How dare you?
This is just the start of what will happen if you don't stop writing your dumb comics. Next time, it'll be your head.
And Rex simply pushed me away and left. I was so angry, I couldn't stop shaking. And that night, I decided it was was time to get even with Rex. He'd taken away Poppy and my comic from me. I was gonna take away everything that mattered to him, his girlfriend and football. With the school championship a week away, I wanted to wreck his game, and I knew just what to do. This cheerleader Ruby had a crush on me, but I'd held back because of Poppy. Now, nothing was stopping me, so I asked her out and she said yes. We hung out all weekend, and she bored me out of my mind.
You look distracted.
I'm not. Look, Ruby, I really like you, but if Rex finds out I like you, he'd make your life tough.
Oh, baby boo. You don't have to worry about me. As for Rex, he's a jerk face. You know, last night in the gym, he almost threw a dumbbell at his teammate because his squats weren't squatting. What does that even mean?
It means nonsense. Gosh, I wish there was a way we could get even with him. Actually, there might just be. Can you get me into the boys' football locker room before the match?
I can try. I know where the coach keeps the keys. What's the plan now?
I told Ruby everything, and she seemed impressed. As promised, she sneaked me inside the locker room, and we sprayed itch powder all over Rex's gear. Throughout the game, Rex kept scratching his butt, which really slowed him down. The coach eventually noticed and benched him, and blamed him for losing the match.
Your scratchy butt cost us the match. Next time, shower.
Next time, coach, better. So what if I was benched? What were the rest of these losers doing? Watching me scratch my butt?
Get out.
Coach benched him for the rest of the season, and Rex was so angry, he lashed out more at the coach and ended up getting suspended for a whole week. This was my chance to get Poppy's attention, but she was still not talking to me. I had to think of a way to get her attention, and one day, I saw her sitting alone in the cafeteria. Oh wow, that's the most appetizing pizza I've ever seen.
Do you want it?
No, I mean, I'd love to, but I just can't. I used to have pizza almost every other night as a kid, and I got so fat, it took forever to shed all that weight. Not that you're gaining any weight eating this. You're not fat at all. You have a great figure. Cherry?
No, thank you.
Funny story. I can tie one of these into a knot using just my tongue. Watch me. I popped the cherry in my mouth and started twirling it around. But instead of a cool trick, I accidentally swallowed the whole thing and choked on it. I thought I was gonna die when one of the students came over and gave me the Heimlich maneuver. I coughed up a cherry and it went flying straight into Poppy's eye. I'm so sorry.
Stay away from me!
Okay, so that went to trash, but I didn't give up and decided to give my luck another shot. But this time, I knew I had to do something bigger, so I turned to Dad for help. I told him everything that happened, and he stared at me.
Wow, my son's stupid.
Dad, I don't need your judgment. I've got enough of that already.
Okay, fine. Let me tell you a story. Your mom was pretty popular in school, and I was just a geeky kid with a crush on her. I could never tell her. Heck, I couldn't even talk to her. Then one day, I saw some guys bothering her on her way home. I stepped in, saved her, and she called me brave and agreed to go out with me. She said I was her hero.
I never said that.
You don't remember, darling? Now teach me that cherry trick, Liam.
Some other time. Thanks, Dad. Talking to Dad made me realize I had to be Poppy's hero, but her boyfriend ate dumbbells for breakfast. What could I possibly save her from? So I hired some actors to fake trouble her, and I'd swoop in to save the day. She had violin classes near school, so we planned it for then. But on the big day, I got stuck in traffic and was 10 minutes late. By the time I arrived, the guys were towering over Poppy, and they were not the actors I'd hired.
Lose the money or lose your life.
Poppy looked terrified. I had to act, so I grabbed a rock and flung it, accidentally hitting Poppy in the leg.
Ow!
I'm so sorry. One of the guys came at me, but I kicked him in the shin, and he started limping. The other one attacked from behind, but Poppy threw a rock and nailed him in the face. He screamed, and I grabbed Poppy's hand, and we ran for our lives. We finally stopped at a cafe, panting and hiding before those guys caught up to us. Close call. Are you okay?
My legs are on fire. But yeah, I'm okay.
You should sit down. I'll ask if they have first aid in the cafe. Thankfully they did. And while I was gently cleaning Poppy's wound, I caught her stealing glances at me. I'm sorry. I know I say that a lot, but
It's okay. After the way you jumped in to help me, even though you hate my boyfriend, I really can't hold a grudge. Thank you.
Poppy and I got closer after that day. She'd wave at me in the hallway, smile at me in class, and sometimes I'd catch her staring at me in the cafeteria. Rex didn't notice. He was too busy trying to find a way back into the team, but Ruby did, and she was not happy.
I hate the way she looks at you. It makes me me so jealous. You know, I even messed up my routine today and chipped my nail.
So? Why don't you get new nails today? My treat. With Ruby at her nail appointment, I called Poppy and asked her if she was free to hang out. We decided to meet at this popular club, and I was pretty excited. That was until 10 minutes later, Rex walked in and pushed me away.
You little weasel! You were the one who ruined my game!
What are you talking about?
What are you? Shut up! Your dumb girlfriend told me about how you put itchy powder in my shorts.
You're lying! Why would Ruby do that?
Because you lied to me.
Suddenly, Ruby walked in and shoved her phone in my face.
My friend saw you walk in with this dumb twig and clicked this picture.
Excuse me? Mind your tongue.
And you mind your hands. He's my boyfriend.
Cool it, girls. This isn't about you. Hey, pretty boy, itchy powder? Seriously? What are you, 12? Why don't you fight like a man instead of hiding behind pretty girls? Or are you too scared? Do you still wear diapers? I hope you do, because you're about to pee your pants.
Rex threw a punch at me, but thankfully I ducked in time. I picked up a ketchup bottle and sprayed it into his eyes. He got distracted, so I pulled all my strength into one tight punch and smacked him in his jaw. He crashed into a nearby table and was about to charge at me when the manager showed up with the police and got both me and Rex arrested.
That looks bad.
Not as bad as your face. And stop talking to me. We're in this mess because of you.
Me? You ruined my future.
You ruined my life. You've bullied me forever, calling me names, making my life hell, insulting my art. You even went after the girl I liked, and don't pretend it was out of love. You're a selfish prick, Rex.
Maybe. But what about you? You got rich and forgot about me. The day your dad won the lottery, I came to congratulate you. You didn't even look at me. Do you know how insulted I felt? You hurt my ego.
Are you freaking kidding me? My place was packed that night. I might have missed you. You could have talked to me, and we'd have sorted it out.
I thought you didn't care.
God, I can't believe you bullied me for years over that. Now I'm here with my right arm injured, not knowing when I'll draw again. And I have my whole portfolio to finish.
Not like I'm in a better situation. I'm benched for the rest of the season. Do you have any idea how mad my dad is? He's already threatening to send me to military school if I don't work on my game. And now I'm in this stupid jail. My life is sealed.
Your dad was always kind of crazy, right?
Nothing's changed, except he's only gotten crazier.
We really messed things up.
Yeah, we did. I'm sorry. I won't trouble you from now on, and you can ask Poppy out if you want.
I don't think I want to. She clearly lied to you when she agreed to go out to the club with me.
So, what now?
I guess we stay out of each other's way and graduate in peace.
I'd like that.
Rex and I didn't talk much after that, and within a few hours, Mom bailed the two of us out. It took some time, but my hand recovered, and I decided to wait a year to apply for a better college in Paris. Rex was out of my life, but he left me with a very important lesson. Never let stupid people ruin your life. They are stupid for a reason.
I gunned the engine of my motorbike and weaved recklessly through the late-night traffic. My phone was clenched tightly in my hand, the GPS on it, my only guide. I was close, so close. But suddenly, a car door flung open right in my path, and there was no time to swerve. I crashed into it full tilt, the world spinning as I was thrown to the ground. My bike skidded away as I scrambled across the road for my phone. Miraculously, it was still intact. The driver of the car I'd crashed into ran over to see if I was okay, but I shoved him aside and leapt into his car. I'm sorry! I need this! Then I slammed the gas and drove off like a maniac. The GPS was directing me to an abandoned mall building, which was close now, but the traffic was choking the last block. I ditched the car and started running towards it, my chest burning with each breath. I burst into the building, taking the stairs two at a time. Reaching the third floor, I threw open the door to find nothing. I'm here at the mall building on the third floor. Where's Carly?
Mall building, you said? Oh no, she's at an abandoned warehouse. Looks like you got the wrong location.
Then send me the right location, now!
What's the point? There's just 2 minutes till the building goes boom. Actually, if you look out the window, you'll get a pretty good view. What a pity. She really did seem like a lovely young woman.
The line went dead. I sprinted back down the stairs, trying to think about my next move, when suddenly a loud explosion pierced the night. Far in the distance, a fireball lit up the sky. The warehouse. No. Carly. Hi, my name is Kyle. Let me tell you everything leading up to the worst night of my life. I was 15 the first time my world turned upside down. I was fast asleep one night when Mom shook me awake, throwing my things into a suitcase.
Kyle, it's happening. We have to go, now.
My dad was an undercover agent, and he told us that we might have to leave our home for good one day. I just wasn't expecting it to really happen. We left that night without Dad, flying halfway across the world to start our lives in a country where everything felt unfamiliar and cold. Days turned into weeks, and Dad didn't come. But soon, a postcard started appearing at our doorstep every month. It was always blank, but at least we knew he was okay, and we could keep hoping he would come to us. But he never did. And by the time I was in law school at 20, those postcards were my only connection to him. Then suddenly, they stopped coming too. Every time I thought about why, I felt sick to my stomach. One night, I was heading home from a late-night study session when suddenly 2 figures emerged from the shadows. Before I could react, strong hands gripped my arms, pulling me into the back of a car. Someone pressed a strong-smelling cloth to my face, and almost instantly, I blacked out. When I finally came to, I found myself in a dim room, facing a man and a woman.
Kyle, don't panic. We're not gonna hurt you. We worked with your father.
The two of them explained everything. Dad's cover had been blown during his assignment, and he had to go into deep hiding. The person he was investigating was William Finch, a businessman and philanthropist on the surface, but a dangerous arms dealer behind closed doors.
But we can't just let this guy get away after all the years we've spent chasing him. Our covers may be compromised too. That's why we need you, Kyle.
They wanted me to infiltrate the dealer's circle and be a part of his entourage. They'd set me up with a new identity as a bodyguard, working in a private security firm so I could get hired by him. And they would make sure my records would pass any background check.
It's the only way to gather the evidence we need to take him down, and for your father to be safe and free for good.
I was just a law student, missing his dad. But if this could finish what he started, how could I say no? So after 2 months of intense training and building a new identity, I started living a double life. William Finch had been looking to amp up his security, and I got hired as a bodyguard in his personal detail. But it wasn't going to be easy to get the evidence I needed. His old bodyguards watched me like a hawk, and I could sense that I didn't have Finch's trust yet. I had to earn it, and my dad's associates and I came up with the perfect plan. Finch had planned to inspect one of his warehouses on the city outskirts one morning, and the route was isolated. As Finch's sleek black car snaked along the road, I was in the SUV directly behind him, alert and ready. A truck barreled toward us from the opposite direction. Why is that truck speeding up? Wait, it's not moving aside. It's headed straight for Mr. Finch's car. As the driver's eyes opened wide with horror, I grabbed the wheel from him, yanking it hard. Our SUV swerved, crashing into Finch's car to knock it off its collision course. The truck missed his car and clipped the tail of our SUV, which went spinning out of control several times before finally coming to a stop. Just then, I saw Finch step out of his car. No, get back in! A bullet pierced the air as I leapt towards Finch. A few more bullets were fired from the truck before it sped away. When I stood up, I noticed my arm was bleeding. It had been grazed by one of the bullets intended for Finch.
Kyle, I think you just saved my life.
That's what I'm here for, sir. I recovered from the injury soon enough. And more importantly, the life-saving mission we had orchestrated had convinced Finch of my loyalty. And this granted me deeper access to his operations. I was by his side all the time now, which meant I was there for important meetings and transactions. And with the undetectable taping devices I had, I was able to record everything. But the most critical phase of my mission meant breaking into Finch's personal office. One night when Finch had retired early, I slipped through the office corridors using a cloned ID card from one of Finch's senior staff that I had arranged beforehand. At his office door, I used a compact lockpicking device that was able to crack the code on the sophisticated lock within seconds, and I slipped in. His desk was a gold mine, a laptop brimming with encrypted files of past arms transactions and shady associates. I inserted a USB drive and started the data transfer. Suddenly, I felt something brush against my ear, and I nearly yelled as I fell back, only to find a fat pigeon on the desk. Oh my God, you stupid pigeon! You nearly gave me a heart attack! Shoo! Go away now! I cracked open the window and tried flying him out, but the pigeon wouldn't budge and just stared back at me. I don't have time for this! Fine, stay here forever. Poop all over Finch's desk while you're at it. The data transfer was almost complete when suddenly I heard footsteps down the hallway. Someone was coming. My heart raced as I waited for the last gigabytes to transfer, and with seconds to spare, I managed to pull out the USB, shut the laptop, and dive behind the desk. The office door creaked open and light spilled in as I recognized one of Finch's senior bodyguards by his boots. He stood completely still, and I felt he could hear me breathe. As he edged closer to the desk, I braced myself to attack him. He was gonna find me any second, and my cover would be blown. Just then, I heard a flapping sound, and the bodyguard yelled out loud. I peeked around the desk to see the fat pigeon circling his head and flapping its wings in his face.
How did this damn bird get in here? Get out of my face!
Just then his radio crackled, and a voice called him to the other side of the mansion, and he cursed the bird some more before leaving. Thank you, I owe you my life. I escaped before the bodyguard returned to deal with the pigeon, and it wasn't until I reached the safety of my room that I was even able to breathe properly. After I'd calmed down, I scrambled to my laptop and plugged in the USB. But as I scanned folder after empty folder, it became painfully clear. Nothing had been saved. Maybe it was a corrupted file system, or even a security measure on Finch's laptop that I hadn't detected. I felt so frustrated, I sent a glass flying into the wall. But I couldn't give up yet. I had to find another way to finish this. And the very next day, Finch briefed us that we were headed to Monaco in 2 days for a pivotal meeting. My father's associates pieced together enough from my previous communications and their own intel to confirm that a major arms deal was taking place. This was it! The evening before the day of the deal, Finch threw a lavish charity gala in Monaco. As I wandered through the crowd, a familiar voice stopped me dead in my tracks.
Kyle, is that you?
I turned around to see Carly, the woman I'd been dating for a month before I went undercover. I'd cut off all contact with her without any explanation. Carly, what are you doing here?
I'm covering the event for Peace on Philanthropy in High Society. Fancy seeing you here, though. I was beginning to think you're a figment of my imagination. You know, because of the way you vanished into thin air.
My heart was caught in my throat. I could feel Finch's gaze on me, and I just couldn't let her blow my cover. I just wasn't that into you. The words felt bitter in my mouth as I saw the hurt in her eyes.
Well, thank you for your honesty. Goodbye, Kyle.
As she walked away, Finch walked up to me and clapped me on the shoulder.
Girl trouble.
Yes, sir. You know how it is. 2 dates and they start planning the wedding. Finch's eyes followed Carly's retreating figure.
Perhaps ask her to the celebration party after tomorrow's deal goes through.
Sure. I'll see what I can do, sir. As Finch laughed and moved away, my thoughts were only on the next day. Enjoy the party while you can, Finch. Tomorrow, you'll be celebrating behind bars. The next day, the arms deal was taking place in a warehouse at the edge of the city, and the air was thick with tension as Finch and his entourage stood waiting. He looked completely calm.
Mr. Finch, a pleasure.
Likewise. Everything is as discussed?
As precise as a Swiss watch. I trust your payment is equally punctual.
You can rest assured. I am a man of... Wait! What's that sound?
Within seconds, the sound of helicopter blades was loud enough for everyone to hear, followed by cars screeching outside.
You're surrounded by the police. Drop your weapons and come out with your hands up.
The men reached for their guns, but before the first shot could ring out, police forces burst through the doors. Amidst the frenzy, I saw Finch step backward onto a concealed slab on the floor. He pressed a device in his hand, and it began descending into the ground. No! Stop, Finch! He's getting away! Just then, our eyes locked, a moment of betrayal and realization, and then he vanished into the floor. Hours later, I was informed that Finch had been caught trying to escape by sea, and soon, I found myself facing him again through the bars of his cell. But he looked composed, almost relaxed.
It's true what they say. The strongest punch always comes from behind. But do you really think it ends here?
For you, it really has this time. I know you're in the business of buying your way out of everything, but the proof against you is too strong. All your routes are blocked.
Perhaps. But even in defeat, I grab my victories. And you know how misery loves company. Check your phone, Carl.
I had received a message that hit me like a punch to the gut. A photo of Carly, tied up, her eyes wide with fear, followed by a location pin.
She's in a building about to blow up in 15 minutes. What are you waiting for? Run, Carl. Run!
I'd succeeded in my mission, but I'd failed Carly and lost her forever. In the weeks following Finch's arrest, His extensive network began to crumble under the weight of international law enforcement. Raids across 4 continents dismantled his operations, bringing down associates who had managed to escape the law for decades. And after years of holding onto only hope and postcards, I was able to bring Dad back home. But despite our victories, my head and heart were heavy with thoughts of Carly. One evening, the news of Finch's ongoing trials was buzzing on TV, and I just felt suffocated. I decided to go out for a walk by the river to clear my head, and suddenly, I saw something that made my knees buckle. It was Carly running towards me, and she flung herself straight into my arms. Oh my God, Carly! I can't believe this! You're alive! Are you hurt? What happened? They found someone in the warehouse, but the body was beyond recognition.
I don't know who that was, but I managed to untie my ropes and get out of the building just as it exploded. The impact threw me into the air and I hit my head hard. I woke up in the hospital just a few days ago. No one in Monaco knew who I was. I came back here as soon as I could.
I thought I lost you. I'm so sorry, Carly, for everything. Can you forgive me?
Maybe, but you owe me a lot of explanations by now, and a lot of great dates.
I'm happy to start right away.
My girlfriend Julia and I had been dating for 3 months when I went into a math test unprepared and got burned. I had never failed a test before, and I had always been told that I was incredibly smart. I tried to talk to my girlfriend about it, but she shoved her test in my face.
How could you let me fail too?
She marched out of the classroom, and I was too stunned by her anger to respond. Later, when I walked into the bathroom, I saw her kissing my classmate, Harry. I felt so sick, I almost puked, but luckily I ran out of there before I vomited and gave myself away. I took refuge in the library and read my favorite book to try and calm my racing heart. I read for so long that I accidentally forgot to go to class. By the time I got there, I was 20 minutes late. As I sat down, my teacher gave me a dirty look. To make matters worse, I'd forgotten I was sitting next to Harry in this class. The teacher's lecture sounded like gibberish. I stared at Harry. His nose was buried in his notes, so he didn't even notice me. I saw a copy of his math test on his desk, the one I had failed. He had gotten a 97%. The bell rang and my teacher gave me a detention slip for being late. I walked to my locker, but when I was getting my books, someone grabbed my arm. It was Julia.
Gary, I want to talk about something.
I recoiled away from her and slammed my head into the locker. Ow! My girlfriend looked shocked.
Oh my God, Gary, are you okay?
She tried to comfort me and take me to the nurse's office, but I pushed her away. Don't touch me, Julia. I know what you did. I gave her an icy stare, but she looked confused. Her confusion turned to horror when I revealed I'd seen her kissing Harry earlier. Just then, Harry came over and he handed Julia a stack of papers.
These are the homework problems. I can explain them later, after school when we have some alone time.
He gave her a warm smile that turned my stomach. My girlfriend smiled back at him, and when he left, she looked at me with anger.
I only went out with you because you were the smartest guy in our school. Now that you failed a math test, I need to move on, Gary. Harry is going to be so much better for me and our grades, but we can still be friends. And maybe if you get smart again, I'll consider taking you back.
I slammed my locker shut. I opened my mouth, but words wouldn't come out. I ran to the bathroom and started throwing up in the sink. Julia had been using me to get good grades. Memories of us studying together, her complimenting my intelligence, even her saying she loved me ran through my head. Were those all lies? As I washed my puke down the sink, a strange goth girl walked in.
Are you okay?
I wiped off my mouth with a paper towel. She explained that she had seen me running in and was concerned. I couldn't find my voice to respond. Julia's voice just played in my head.
Oh my God, Gary, are you okay? We can still be friends. Maybe if you get smart again, I'll consider taking you back.
I ran past the goth girl and out of the bathroom. Then I went back to the school library, skipping my last 2 classes for the day. After school, my parents got a call from the principal. He told them that because I had skipped all my afternoon classes, I was going to have to do Saturday detention. My dad was furious, and he got even more angry when he saw the score on my math test. I locked myself in my room and cried myself to sleep that night. My parents forcibly dragged me out of the house to go to school for the rest of the week. I had to stare at Harry and my ex doing ridiculous acts at PDA. My teacher praised them for their hard work and high grades, but I knew she was just using him because now that my grades had slipped, everyone was whispering in the halls that he was the smartest kid in school. By Saturday, my eyes were red from crying so much. When I got detention, I froze in the doorway, startled. The same goth girl who had spoken to me in the bathroom earlier was here.
Hey, I recognize you. So you got detention too?
The principal stared daggers at the two of us.
No playing around! For detention, you two will clean the bathrooms and mop the hallways, now!
We got supplies from the janitor's closet. I dragged the heavy mop bucket across the floor at a snail's pace. I can't wait for this to be over. This sucks. The goth girl complained like a grumpy old lady, and the day started to suck a little less as I complained along with her. She told me that she had failed the math test too, and my mouth dropped open with shock. I thought I was the only one.
No way. I literally can't stand math. English is way better.
I found out her favorite book was Catcher in the Rye. It was my favorite too. We started talking and time flew, and by the end of our detention, we were both smiling. This was kind of fun.
Yeah, I had fun talking to you, but I hated cleaning the toilet seats.
When we were leaving, she turned to me and offered me a handshake.
I'm Talia.
And my name's Gary.
We should hang out and study together sometime.
I hesitated, remembering what Julia had said to me at my locker earlier.
I only went out with you because you were the smartest guy in our school.
Talia took out a pen and wrote her phone number on the palm of my hand. Text me, Gary. Later that night when I got home, I took a picture of my math test and sent it to her. Not sure I can teach you anything. She texted me back a few minutes later with a picture of her failing score.
We'll learn together.
Over the next couple of weeks, Talia and I met up every day after school in the library. We did every math assignment together, and we read through all the lessons and examples. Meanwhile, Julia and Harry were still ogling each other every chance they got. They would leave class holding hands or with their arms around each other, while Talia and I stayed after to meet with our teacher, ask him questions, and watch him solve problems on the projector. All our hard work paid off when our assignments came back and our grades increased from D's to B's and then eventually A's. I showed my dad and he was so happy he took me out for ice cream.
I'm so proud of your hard work, Gary.
His praise made my heart swoon. I owe a lot of thanks to Talia. She helped me a ton. My dad decided that we should invite Talia's family over for dinner one night, but I told him that we had a big math test coming up, so it would have to wait until after that. On the day of the big math test, Julia and Harry were still doing crazy displays of PDA. I did my best to ignore them, focusing on the crazy hard math problems instead. A few days later, we got the results back and the teacher congratulated Talia and me in front of the whole class. We'd gotten a perfect score on the test. We were the only ones who scored that high in the whole class. As I was about to leave, I noticed that Harry was sitting alone in tears. Suddenly, someone grabbed my hand. It was Julia.
I'm so proud of you, Gary. You're the smartest kid in class again.
My ex started batting her eyes and swooning over me.
Let's pick things up where we left off,
Then I saw Talia. She stared at us from across the room, mouth half open in horror. She grabbed her books and ran out like a dog with its tail between its legs. I shook Julia off, then ran after Talia.
I stared at my computer screen, my fingers dancing across the keyboard as I executed a complex SQL injection attack to accelerate the Bitcoin transfer. The lines of code scrolled by at dizzying speed, each character bringing me closer to my goal. Select from users where username equals or 1 equals 1, drop table security underscore logs. I grinned as I bypassed another layer of security. I'd studied the recent SolarWinds hack and the Log4j vulnerability, and I wasn't about to make the same mistakes those amateurs made. My custom Metasploit module was working like a charm, exploiting a zero-day vulnerability I'd discovered in their system. Suddenly, 2 men burst into the office. They were not security guards, but heavily armed cartel members, their eyes scanning the room with the cold precision of predators hunting their prey. My heart pounded like an overclocked CPU as I ducked behind Mr. Dalton's desk, sweat beading on my forehead. I muttered a string of code under my breath, willing the transfer to complete faster. Bling! The satisfied chime of a successful transfer rang out, accompanied by a notification. Who's the king of crypto now, Dalton? Satoshi Nakamoto, eat your heart out. Mr. Dalton's bitcoins were now in my custody.
There!
there!
Unfortunately, the same bell had also caught the attention of the cartel members. The air erupted with gunfire, the acrid smell of cordite filling my nostrils as my ears rang from the deafening shots. One of the shots shattered the window behind me, showering me with glass. Adrenaline surged through my veins, sharpening my senses to razor precision. I snatched my laptop and made a split-second decision. I sprinted towards the broken window and jumped out. Ah! How did a scrawny, introverted code monkey like me end up pulling off the crypto heist of the century and base jumping from the 8th floor of a corporate high-rise? Buckle up, fellow hackers and adrenaline junkies, because this story is about to go from 0 to binary real quick. We're talking Matrix meets The Social Network with a dash of Fast and Furious. And unlike your sketchy download links, I promise this tale is 100% virus-free. Mostly, though I can't guarantee it won't infect your mind with the urge to check your firewall settings. It all started 2 weeks earlier in the school hallways, where I was gathering courage to ask Kiara out, while she was handing out flyers about global warming.
Hey, Alan, what are your thoughts on global warming?
I froze, my brain suddenly more locked up than a 256-bit encryption. I think it's hot. Smooth, Alan, real smooth. You can crack AES encryption in your sleep but can't string together a coherent sentence? Pathetic. Time to execute conversationrescue.exe. Error 404, charm not found.
What?
Sorry, I think you're hot. I mean, statistically speaking, given the rising global temperatures, we're all getting hotter, right? I'll just go debug myself now. I couldn't do anything but turn away ashamed and run off while listening to Kiara's giggles. Somebody initiate a full system reboot on me, please. Control-Alt-Delete this entire interaction. Is there a restore point for my dignity? Well, at least she found my social awkwardness amusing. I was too shy and withdrawn. Maybe it's because at 13 I spent a year and a half in bed with a rare disease. While other kids were discovering hormones, I was at home discovering the intricacies of C++, Python, and the dark web. I built my first botnet before I could legally drive, and by 14 I had more Bitcoin than friends. That's how I became the coding prodigy I am today, capable of hacking anything from a smart fridge to a government mainframe. The human firewall, though? Still working on that patch. In the afternoon, my favorite Uncle Mike asked me to come to his office to help him with a computer problem. When I arrived, my uncle introduced me to Daniela, a coworker who had lost her password to her cold wallet where she kept a few cryptocurrencies. For those who don't know what a cold wallet is, it's a device similar to a flash drive where people keep their cryptos offline so that no hacker like me can steal them.
If you get my cryptos back, I'll give you anything you want.
Wait, what? Is she flirting with me? She's twice my age, but she's in great shape. Come on, Alan, focus!
Dinner's on you if my nephew gets your cryptos back before the sun goes down.
It's on, and I know the perfect spot.
Daniela winked and smiled at me, making me nervous. I started working under the pressure of my uncle's watchful eye. After a couple of hours and 1,000 different combinations using a decoder, I was finally able to figure out the password and access her cryptos, which I then transferred to an exchange. Daniela was able to sell them and earn some bucks, just before sunset. Daniela then invited us to dinner at a restaurant on the boardwalk where the two of them revealed something rather shocking.
What you just did was a test.
And you passed with flying colors.
Our boss, Mr. Dalton, is a criminal who exploits, underpays, and mistreats his employees. He has over 100 bitcoins in his cold wallet, stored in the safe in his office. We want you to steal it.
I'm his assistant, so I can give you all the inside information you need. Building blueprints, details of security protocols in use, number of guards on duty, whatever you want, I'll get it for you.
What? You are insane. And you know I'm a minor, right? I tried to leave, but Uncle Mike held me back.
Alan, please don't go. At least hear what we have to say.
I don't want to hear it, because this is wrong and I'm not interested in going to jail.
No one is going to jail. If anyone can plan this well enough for us to get away with it, it's you.
I can also use Mr. Dalton's computer to schedule a fake technical visit from our internet provider. That way, you could come into the office disguised as a technician to get the cold wallet. If we all work together, we'll be super rich.
You guys are delusional. Good luck. I was leaving when Uncle Mike held me by my shirt collar.
Alan, your Aunt Anne is really sick, and her insurance won't cover her treatment. If I don't get that money, she will die.
Uncle Mike and his wife Anne had 2 young children. I couldn't just let her die. And despite my young age, I already knew how horrible it feels to be sick. I had to help them, so I said yes.
I knew I could count on you. Family always comes first.
The next 2 weeks, I dove into my heist preparations, and I had to admit, I was really enjoying it. And when Uncle Mike and Daniela came by one evening to discuss our plan, I was ready for them.
All right, Wonder Kid, show us what you've got.
I swiveled in my chair facing my multiple monitors. Prepare to have your minds blown. I've mapped out the entire security system of Dalton's building. It's like Swiss cheese, full of holes. Daniela leaned in, her perfume momentarily shorting out my brain circuits.
Impressive, Alan. But how are we going to get past the biometric scanner on Mr. Dalton's door and his safe?
I smirked, pulling up a 3D model of a fingerprint. Already sorted. I've created a polymer mold that can fool any fingerprint scanner. It's based on an exploit I found in the scanner's firmware. They should really update their systems more often. Mike whistled low.
That's my nephew. What about the guards?
Glad you asked. I've hacked into their scheduling system. On the night of the heist, they'll be understaffed due to a computer glitch. Also, the guard on duty will be watching some fake surveillance footage that I will install into their system, which will keep playing on a loop. As I laid out the rest of the plan, I could see the amazement growing on their faces. For once, I felt truly in my element. This wasn't just a heist. It was the ultimate hack. And I was the mastermind behind it all.
Alan, you're not just good, you're a genius.
I felt a flush of pride. Maybe I couldn't talk to girls at school, but I could sure as hell impress them with my skills. Maybe I'd have a chance to impress Kiara too. So there we were, on a Saturday, waiting outside the office in a rented van with fake license plates. And I looked ridiculous disguised as an internet company technician, while Daniela glued a fake mustache on me. I'm not gonna fool anyone dressed like this. I look stupid.
You look hot.
I look like a kid with a fake mustache. The security guard will know in a second.
The guard doesn't even care. He's probably watching football. Stop wasting time and let's get this show on the road.
Okay, let's do this. I ran the software and the fake security surveillance videos went into a loop. There was no turning back now. So I gathered my courage, grabbed my backpack, and walked into the lobby where the security guard greeted me.
Good day. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm here to do internet maintenance on the 8th floor.
Just a minute, please.
The guard checked his computer and saw the appointment scheduled by Daniela. Then he took a good look at me.
How old are you? You look so young.
21. They're hiring us younger and younger to pay us less and less.
I hear you, brother. Soon they'll replace us with children and robots. Come in.
I was sweating nervously as I took the elevator to the 8th floor and put on an earpiece to stay in contact with Daniela and Uncle Mike. I'm in, on my way up to the office.
Great. The floor must be clear.
There wasn't a soul in the whole place. Daniela had made sure of that by spreading the rumor that they were going to fumigate that weekend. I was easily able to get past the biometric scanner outside Mr. Dalton's office, and it didn't take me long to crack the code on his safe. Click! The door opened, and there was the jackpot, Mr. Dalton's cold wallet. I have eyes on the prize.
You got this.
I pulled out my laptop, plugged in the cold wallet, and got to work on cracking the password, which I was able to do within 15 minutes. That had to be some kind of record. Then I started the transfer. It was just a matter of time before we got those bitcoins and my Aunt Anne could start her treatment. Everything was going according to plan until...
Alan?
Yes?
We are monitoring the guards, and the one in the surveillance room seems to be getting uneasy.
He is checking the monitors and talking to his partner. I think they figured out the hoax. They're calling someone. You need to hurry.
I'm trying!
Alan, don't freak out, but a black car just pulled up and 2 armed men have entered the building. They're heading your way.
How can I not freak out? 2 armed men are heading my way!
I had heard rumors that Mr. Dalton was laundering money for the Mexican cartel, but I never thought it was real.
Oh great! Now we know it is real! So now you know how I got here. The men came into the office, discovered me, and I had no choice but to jump out the window. But did you think I was stupid enough to jump into the void? Of course not. When I came into the building, I noticed that the window cleaners had installed a safety net, so I knew that with some luck, I would fall into it. And I did. I landed straight into the safety net and quickly descended safely to the street. My uncle opened the van door and pulled me in. The gunmen gasped when they saw me survive the fall, and they started shooting at us as I climbed into the van and we sped away. It looked like a scene out of an action movie.
Thank God you're all right.
The van skidded around the corner and we thought we were out of danger. But seconds later, we found the black car with the cartel members chasing us.
Hold on tight.
Daniela drove that van as if she were a member of the Fast and Furious team, dodging other cars at high speed and not even panicking when a gunshot blew out the rear window. Finally, she skidded around a curve, and as the black car driver tried to follow her, he lost control and crashed into a fire hydrant. Now we were really out of danger. That night in Daniela's apartment, I laundered over $7 million through various investments and finally transferred the money to a new bank account I opened for my uncle in a tax haven country. We couldn't have been happier. My aunt would receive the best treatment possible. But later that evening, when I went to use the restroom, I came back to find the two of them standing a bit too close to each other in the kitchen. They both jumped at the sight of me and hurried to put some distance between them. Were they kissing or just hugging? Maybe I got confused and misjudged the situation, so I didn't pay much attention to it. The next day, I bought the nicest bouquet I could afford and went to Uncle Mike's house. I couldn't wait to give Aunt Anne a big hug. But when I got there, Uncle Mike wasn't home, and Aunt Anne looked pretty good.
He didn't come last night. He told me you guys were working on a project and were going to stay up late.
The memory of my uncle being too close to Daniela last night came back to me. Aunt Anne, can I ask you something important? Are you sick?
No. Do I look that bad? I'm actually great. Never felt better. Why? Is something wrong?
I couldn't answer her. I just dropped the flowers, turned around, and left.
Hey, Alan, are you okay? What's going on?
My favorite uncle had played me and ran off with his lover and the money. But it wasn't going to stay that way. I wasn't going to let Uncle Mike dump my aunt and cousins. They would get justice.
I'm sorry, but your card didn't go through.
Try again.
I already tried twice. You don't have enough funds.
What? How is that even possible?
The card bounced twice, Mike. I think you need to check the balance.
Filled with anxiety, Uncle Mike checked his account balance and almost had a heart attack when he saw that his balance was zero. Nothing, not even a few dollars for a drink. Blink! A text message arrived at his inbox. Family always comes first. That night, I transferred all the money to my Aunt Anne, to whom I had to confess everything that happened. At first, she didn't believe me. Then she wanted me to return the money. But I told her that the money belonged to the Mexican cartel, and we both agreed that it was better not to have any more contact with them. So, we're millionaires, and we're going to enjoy it. But in moderation so we don't raise any suspicion. There was only one thing left to do. Hi, Kira. Do you want to get something to eat? We can talk about global warming.
Sure, I'd love to.
The dimly lit club buzzed with energy, the air thick with the smell of sweat. Paul, Alex, and I were staring breathlessly at the big screen, waiting for our team to win the prestigious Vince Lombardi Trophy after 60 years. The quarterback stepped back and launched the ball into the air. We were sure it was a touchdown, but the opposing team's defender leaped, snatching the ball out of the air. The final whistle blew, and our team lost. Dang it! So close!
We almost had it!
Paul was silent, his eyes fixed on the screen, fists clenched. Just then, someone spoke from across the room.
Hey, losers! How does it feel to watch your team choke?
We looked over to see a burly guy in his 20s smirking at us.
Mind your own business! Why don't you make me?
Paul got up, but I held him back. Let it go, Paul. He's just trying to pick a fight. It's not worth it.
That's right! Listen to your mama, sweet boy. You're a bigger loser than your team. Pathetic!
Without warning, Paul ran across the room and swung his fist at the guy's jaw. He replied with a punch of his own, and the whole club erupted in chaos. Just then, someone in the crowd crowd yelled for the cops, and within minutes, I heard sirens outside. We need to leave, now! Paul heard me, and the three of us took the back gate and ran for our lives, escaping the cops by mere seconds. Hi, I'm Max, and these are my friends, Paul and Alex. Paul has always been a bit hot-headed, quick to throw a punch if someone gets under his skin. Alex and I usually manage to calm Paul down, but last night, with our team losing, he just got out of control. He was still fuming when he called us over to his place the next morning, saying he had something important to discuss.
I can't get over that loss. Humiliating. And that jerk at the club didn't help.
Yeah, it was rough, but there's always next year.
Next year? We haven't won in over 60 years. Anyway, it's not just about losing. It's about making the winning team feel the sting we did. And I think the only way to do that is to steal the trophy before it hits the stage. If our team can't have it, no one can.
You need to chill out, dude. Stealing the trophy is insane, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be heavily guarded. We'll get caught before we even get close. It's a stupid idea. I'm out.
I'm with Alex. I've got my football championship next week. It's my only shot at a scholarship, and I'm not risking that.
It won't be as tough as you think. The ceremony's tonight. We'll slip in, steal the trophy, and get out before anyone notices. Everyone will be focused on the players and interviews. It's the perfect distraction. Come on, guys. It'll be epic to steal this moment of glory from that stupid team and their stupid fans.
I thought about what Paul said. It was crazy, but it wasn't the worst idea in the world. Fine, let's do it. For our team!
If I end up in jail with some psycho, I'm blaming you too.
Deal. Oh, I freaking love you guys.
The ceremony was set for the evening, giving us little time to plan. Paul got us tickets through a friend who worked at the stadium, and we easily got in. We slipped into the back and changed into janitor uniforms, blending in perfectly. Moving carefully, we headed to the locker rooms where the players were waiting. The atmosphere was electric, packed with legends we'd admired for years. My hands were itching for an autograph, but I controlled myself, and the three of us proceeded to move quietly through the hallways. Minutes later, we spotted a room with a few guards stationed outside, who looked like they could snap necks in half. This has to be it.
But how do we get in?
I have an idea.
And with that, Alex walked straight towards the guards, suddenly clutched his chest and collapsed to the floor, shaking violently.
Hey, what's going on?
I think he's having a seizure.
Alex started making weird sounds while flapping his arms like a fish out of water. The guards panicked and called for an ambulance, and Paul and I seized the opportunity and quietly slipped into the room. I pulled out the toolkit we had swiped and began working on the lock. My hands were sweating, but I kept at it until I heard a click. I carefully opened the glass door and lifted the trophy. That's when I noticed something blinking at the bottom. I tilted the trophy to get a better look and saw a timer counting down from 10 minutes. Paul, I think there's a bomb under this thing.
What? Are you sure?
Nope, but it looks just like the bomb timer from Counter-Strike. I've played that game 1,000,000 times and I know a bomb when I see one. I say we've got exactly 9.5 minutes before this place goes boom.
I think we have another problem to deal with first.
I turned to see Paul pointing at a security camera. Before we could react, the door burst open and security guards stormed in, guns drawn. Wait, there's a bomb!
Shut up and stay still.
No, seriously, just look at the bottom. But the guards weren't listening. They pulled me and Paul out of the room, and I caught a glimpse of the bomb's timer. 8 minutes. My mind raced as they dragged us through the hallway and threw the two of us into a room.
Stay here. We'll deal with you after the ceremony.
As soon as the guards left, I turned to Paul. We gotta get out, or we're all gonna fry.
I can't die, bro. I'm too young. Oh, this plan was a big mistake. I should have never dragged you two along. I didn't even hug Mom before coming here. My whole life is flashing before my eyes.
Just then, the door flung open, and Alex stood there with a wide smile.
Morning, princesses!
Alex! Oh, thank God. I thought you'd be on your way to the hospital.
I made a miraculous recovery. The guards didn't know what to make of it, but I convinced them with my charm. It was tough, but I did for my friends.
Great story. Where's the trophy?
They just rolled it out to the ceremony. Forget the trophy. Let's just get out of here.
I shoved Alex aside and bolted out. I ran until I saw people rolling the trophy towards the stage. The ceremony was starting. Time was running out. 3 minutes. I ignored everything and sprinted towards the trophy, now placed center stage. The guards saw me and charged, but I zigzagged through the chaos. Before anyone could react, I leapt onto the stage, grabbed the trophy, and ran. Oh my God! This is heavy! 2 minutes. The clock was ticking. There was no time to think, no place to safely dispose of the bomb. The crowd was buzzing with confusion and the guards were closing in. I made a split-second decision and grabbed the microphone from the stand. Everyone listen up! There's a bomb in this trophy and it's about to go off! Everyone leave! Now! The crowd fell silent for a moment before erupting into panic. Everyone started running around like headless chickens, and the guards froze, unsure of what to do. 1 minute. Paul and Alex frantically pushed their way through the panicked crowd, making their way to the stage. I used the toolkit to carefully remove the base of the trophy, exposing the bomb. 30 seconds. I mentally ran through the basics. Red wires are often a decoy. I should focus on power sources and triggers. My fingers hovered over the bomb, tracing the circuit paths.
What are you thinking?
Counter-Strike always said to cut the wire closest to the power source or remove the battery first. But I can't spot the battery.
This ain't a video game, bro. We'll die if you yank the wrong wire. Think this through.
What do you think I'm trying to do here? And it's not like I'm a bomb expert.
I think you should cut the red wire.
Which one? They're all red.
Just do it, Max. Make your best call. We're all gonna die anyway.
This is madness.
Shut up. Let me focus. 15 seconds. I took a deep breath, identifying the main power line and the secondary trigger. The timer ticked down as I grabbed one of the wires connected to the power source, then yanked it out. I stared at the trophy, waiting for the explosion, but nothing happened. The timer had stopped, and the bomb was defused.
It's done! Everyone calm down!
A roar of relief erupted from the crowd, and I collapsed to my knees. Paul and Alex grabbed me, pulling me into a tight hug. As we caught our breath, police and security quickly secured the bomb and took us in for questioning. We stuck to our story, that it was just a stupid dare to sneak into the trophy room, and we had no clue about the bomb. After hours of grilling, they let us go with a stern lecture and some community service hours. The ceremony was canceled, and the media exploded with speculation. But a week later, it was revealed that a member of the winning team had planted the bomb. He was upset at not being made captain and wanted to get even with the rest of the team. We were still getting over the news when a few days later, I received a phone call from the Football Association, inviting me, Paul, and Alex to the rescheduled ceremony. The winning team wanted to thank us personally for what we did, even if it was unintentional. On the main day, as the three of us walked onto the stage, the crowd erupted into applause.
This trophy represents more than just a victory on the field. We can't thank you enough for what you did.
The three of us stood awkwardly on the stage, holding the trophy, surrounded by cheering fans and flashing cameras.
Well, this isn't how I imagine lifting the trophy.
At least we're not in jail. That's a win in my book.
So, do we get to keep this as a souvenir, or... Pretty sure they want it back, hero. Dozens of guards pointed their guns at us from the prison towers and walls.
Surrender now, or we'll open fire!
In the middle of the yard, I was gathering courage inside our newly built armored car, the Ram. We hadn't had a chance to test it, so we weren't sure we could break through the reinforced metal gate, the only thing that separated us from freedom. There were two possibilities. Either we'd escape, or we'd be filled with bullets. Manny was busy putting pressure on his wound to avoid losing more blood, so it was all up to me. Hold tight! With the brake on, I put the pedal to the metal to gain momentum.
This is your last chance! Surrender or we shoot!
I released the brake.
Fire!
The Ram took off at full speed, and a rain of bullets poured down on us. We rushed through the prison courtyard. Ah! But how did I get here? Only 2 months ago, my life was perfect. I had the coolest auto repair shop in Vegas. Clients would come to get their cars armored, install a killer sound system, or get a turbocharger to make them fly. Whatever they asked for, I'd deliver. Their cars would get pimped out, we'd fill up the tank with premium cash. And if that wasn't enough, I met Nicole, a student who danced at a club to pay her way through medical school. She was the best of both worlds, a brilliant mind and a body hotter than a turbocharged engine. On a summer road trip, I felt like the king of the world. Until one day, I was working on a car when Hassan came into the garage with his huge luxury pickup truck. Damn, he looked gangster. I didn't know much about him, only that he was a businessman who had recently bought the 2 stores next to my shop to set up a plastics factory or something. He offered to buy my workshop, but I politely declined. He wanted me to install a nitro boost on his truck. As a welcome gift, I offered to do it for free.
Thanks, but don't let me down, kiddo. You don't want to see me upset.
Never. We closed the deal shaking hands. I started work immediately, and 8 hours later, the truck was ready. That pickup was built like a tank. That night, my girlfriend Nicole met me at the shop, saw the truck, and fell in love with it.
What I wouldn't give for a truck like that. Let's take it for a ride.
Are you nuts? I never take clients' cars out. Someone might see us.
If anyone does, you can just say we went out to try it. Come on, I've always wanted to ride one of these.
5 minutes later, Nicole and I were driving the truck down the highway while listening to hip-hop on those speakers that sounded like a live concert inside the cab.
Can we try the nitro, please?
I smiled, activated the nitro, and the truck took off. We reached 160 miles per hour in no time. That truck was in beast mode. But seconds later, a siren blared and a police car began to follow us.
Pull over!
Darn it.
We still have another load, don't we?
What's on your mind?
Let's use it. He'll never catch us.
Are you insane? You want us to go to prison?
Come on, don't be a chicken.
And just like that, Nicole smashed the nitro button. That pickup shot off like a rocket and the police patrol bit the dust. The officer did not look happy. What we didn't count on was that a mile later, 2 other patrols were waiting for us, blocking the road. I had to stop. The policemen were very aggressive, and I was shocked when they accused me of driving a stolen vehicle. I tried to explain that the truck was not mine, but they were furious that I had tried to flee. So they slammed my head against the patrol car and handcuffed me. Thank you, Nicole. For stealing a motor vehicle and attempting to flee from the police, the judge sentenced me to 10 years in prison and a $15,000 fine. One from cruising to crashing in a heartbeat. Luckily, in the Nevada prison, there was a mechanic shop. There, at least, I'd be kept busy servicing the prison jeeps and building things to make my stay less miserable. That's how I met Manny, the mechanic in charge of the garage. He told me I reminded him of his son, so he immediately took me under his wing. And thank God he did, because a few days after I went into prison, a burly guy named Roman and his pals decided that I didn't have the horsepower to cruise through their prison. I was working on an engine when Roman and 2 of his goons came into the shop. I didn't pay attention to them, but fortunately Manny did. He saw when Roman picked up a screwdriver and came at me with a murderous look on his face.
Sam, look out!
Roman tried to stab me, but thanks to Manny, I was able to dodge him at the last second, and the screwdriver got stuck in the engine. As Roman struggled to unjam the screwdriver, one of his goons attacked Manny, but Manny delivered a crushing blow with his wrench that knocked out 2 of the goons' teeth. Crack! Ooh, hope you have dental. Roman's other pal immediately attacked me with a crowbar, but I blocked his attack with the cross key and then hit him directly in the nose.
2 down, only 1 left.
Roman finally managed to unjam the screwdriver and was about to get back into the fight when we heard some guards.
Hey, what's going on there?
Roman and his pals decided to flee before they arrived.
This is not over.
One of his gang members fled after him, but the other fell down as he tried to stand up.
You two, stop!
The prison guards followed Roman and his thug while we held a conversation with the 3rd gang member. Why did you try to kill me?
Talk, or I'll knock all your teeth out.
No, wait, I'll talk.
Who sent you?
It was Hassan. He took over your shop and he wants you dead so you can't get it back. He's never gonna let you out of this prison alive.
Hassan? The businessman?
He's not a businessman. He's the head of the Legion gang. He's using your garage to distribute his product from there.
All this just to distribute plastic?
You're so stupid. He's not in the plastic business.
Don't come back if you want to keep your teeth.
So Hassan and the Legionnaires wanted me dead. This time I had been lucky to have Manny by my side, but I still had 10 years left in here. Even the guards couldn't protect me that long. I needed to get out of prison if I wanted to stay alive and see Nicole again. Nicole. I had already forgiven her and I missed her so much. At first she came to visit me often, but as time went by she came less and less. The relationship cooled down and eventually we broke up. Maybe if I managed to escape from prison, I could get her back. Maybe. We needed to escape anyway. And I say needed in plural because after the fight with Roman, the Legion also wanted Manny's head.
After we escape, you and I are going to open a shop together.
Deal. Troubled, we began to hatch an escape plan. We were going to build an armored car, the Ram, strong enough to withstand the guards' gunfire. The plan was to escape on it when the gates opened during the guards' change of shifts. We would do it using whatever materials we had available. So we started stealing pieces of steel from the gym equipment, metal trays from the kitchen to use as defensive plates, spare tires from the Jeeps we were fixing, and even a small engine. We made the Ram as small as possible so we could hide it inside the workshop. It was the size of 2 motorcycles put together. One morning, a guard came into the shop to do a routine inspection. He started looking around and approached the Ram, which was covered by scrap metal and a plastic tarp. As he got closer to our car, Manny and I became increasingly nervous.
What's in here?
The guard was about to pull up the tarp covering the Ram, so I had to improvise. So, did you see last night's game?
What game?
The game from last night.
Are you stupid or what? Move along!
The game against Manny's useless team.
What? My team is not useless.
Hit me. They're so useless that they tackled the other team's mascot. Hit me now. At first, Manny didn't understand until BAM! He hit me so hard it felt like my brain got rear-ended by a Mack truck.
What are you doing? Stop! Stop immediately!
But Manny jumped on me and the guard had no choice but to take him off me. I was left with some bruises and Manny was thrown in solitary confinement for a day. But it was worth it, as the guard didn't discover the Ram. A couple of weeks later, the Ram was ready for a first test. but Roman suspected we were up to something. His employers informed him that Manny and I had been collecting parts, so he knew we were building something. He just didn't know what. Once again, Roman showed up at the shop with a dozen of his Legionnaires, but this time we were ready.
Find them. They must be here.
Using large oxygen cylinders we'd stolen from the prison infirmary, Manny and I had built pressurized air rifles that fired rubber balls at over 400 feet per second. So when the Legionnaires invaded the shop, we gave them the welcome they deserved. Thud! Ouch, that must hurt. One by one, the Legionnaires were knocked down.
Headshot!
Lights out. We were having so much fun beating them up that we didn't notice Roman sneaking up on us, using the scrap metal from the workshop as cover. Manny, look out! But it was too late. Roman stabbed Manny with a screwdriver before I could knock him out with a shot right between the eyes. I immediately passed a rag to Manny to put pressure on his wound, but he was bleeding badly and soon the guards would arrive to investigate the fuss.
You have to go. Take the ram. Quickly. The guards will be here any minute.
I'm not leaving you. You're coming with me. I opened the garage door and used all my strength to drag Manny to the ramp. Come on, you got this! The prison guard's shouts could be heard closer. I climbed into the pilot seat and turned the key. The ram's engine roared like a lion. I pulled the ram out of the garage and dozens of guards pointed their guns at us. Hold tight!
Fire!
The ram took off at full speed and a rain of bullets poured down on us. We rushed through the prison courtyard. Ah! The guards could not believe their eyes. No one had ever attempted anything so daring. The ram reached its top speed. We knew that at exactly that time the next shift's guards would be entering through the main gate. The guards rushed trying to close the gate, but the ram was too fast for them. And boom! We got through the gate just before it closed completely. I pushed a button to get rid of the armor and the ram slid at high speed across the Nevada desert. The guards' jeeps couldn't keep track of us. At last we were free. Back in Vegas, we ditched the ram and had to steal a car. Manny was losing blood fast, so I decided to take him to the only person I could trust, Nicole. She was a medical student and could stabilize Manny, at least until I could get him to a hospital. But nothing could have prepared me for what I saw when I arrived at my ex-girlfriend's house. I was about to get out of the car when I discovered Hassan walking out with Nicole. She kissed him on the mouth. He got into his car and drove off. My instinct was telling me to go yell at Nicole for what she had done to me. But Manny needed medical attention, so I took him to a friend who was a vet. If you behave yourself, after you're sewn up, I'll give you a cookie. I didn't want to worry Manny, but I was in shock. I couldn't believe that Nicole was behind my arrest. She betrayed me. Then I realized something. If she and Hassan planned all this to take away my workshop, that shop must be extremely important to them. I'll be right back. There's something important I have to do. The next day, Hassan found out about my jailbreak and reinforced security at my former garage, even bringing Nicole there to prevent me from contacting her. But an anonymous call to the fire department reporting a gas leak prompted firefighters to go to the store and force Hassan and the Legionnaires to evacuate. A police squad also arrived as reinforcements.
What are you doing? I'm the owner. There's no gas leak here.
Sir, you need to get out while we make sure there is no danger.
Only then, hidden under a cap and dark glasses, I confronted Hassan and Nicole in the street. I never thought you'd be capable of betraying me like that, Nicole.
You? Why don't you just die?
Sam, I'm sorry. I didn't...
I'm more sorry.
Sam, the fire department finished their inspection. They are on their way out. The building is empty.
Okay, it was a false alarm. Everyone can go back to work.
I warned you, kiddo. I told you you didn't want to see me upset.
You also asked me for a nitro boost, and I always deliver. Here's your nitro. Boom! The whole shop exploded and glass flew through the air. What a show. The night before, when I had left Manny with the vet, I snuck into my old garage. I knew how to get in undetected, and I left Hassan a little gift next to the nitrous oxide tanks.
Hope he has insurance.
But as soon as Hassan got back on his feet, he pulled out his gun.
The mechanic!
He pointed his gun at me and was about to end my life when thud! A rubber ball fired at over 400 feet per second ended Hassan's chance of having heirs. Ouch, that must have hurt.
I love this rifle!
I slipped away from the scene while I still had a chance. With the blast, several packages containing illegal substances had flown through the air and landed on the street. The police arrested Hassan and Nicole when they discovered drugs in the shop that, only minutes before, Hassan had claimed was his.
No, wait. I have nothing to do with this.
Tell that to the judge.
I'll have your heads for this.
It wasn't easy leaving it all behind, but Manny and I escaped to Mexico. where his cousin helped us set up our new auto repair shop near the beach. Things are going well, and I'm rebuilding my life, one screw at a time.
Salud, socio. Here's to never getting caught again.
Cheers, partner, and to always having a spare nitro boost.
I stood at the edge of the crowd, staring up at the Biodin Pharma building. Voices from the press and clicking cameras filled the air, but my eyes were fixed on the man standing at the podium, Curtis Braxton, CEO of Biodin Pharma.
The incident at our lab was tragic. However, it was not Biodin's fault. The investigation shows that one of our leading scientists, Charlie Jackson, ignored the risks of the chemicals and continued with the experiment, which led to the fire.
The words hit me like a sledgehammer. That's a lie! My brother was anything but careless. The fire happened because your safety measures are trash. You need to accept that.
Biodin labs are among the safest in the country. We would never risk the lives of our employees like that.
You don't get to say that! I've seen how you treat your people. Overworked and underpaid. Charlie was under so much pressure, and now you're calling his dedication carelessness? You can't pin this disaster on him when he's not even here to defend himself.
Don't tell me what to do, kid.
Before I could argue further, Curtis turned and walked away with his security detail, and I was left standing with only one question in my mind. What really happened to my brother? Hi, I'm Tucker, and my life turned upside down the year I turned 20. It all began when my brilliant brother Charlie landed his dream job at this pharmaceutical giant, Biodin Pharma. But lately, Charlie was not himself at all. He was always busy with work and short-tempered, and no matter how much I tried, I just couldn't get through to him. You're still working?
Yeah, I want to make a lot of money. I want us to get very rich. But first, I just gotta wrap up this research.
You've been saying that for months now, man. You've hardly been eating or sleeping. This stupid research has taken a toll on your health. Come on, shut this thing down and go to bed. I reached out to gather some scattered papers, but my hand accidentally knocked a glass of water all over Charlie's laptop.
What the heck?
I'm so sorry.
Are you stupid? Do you have any idea what you've done?
Dude, relax. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, of course you didn't. Just leave me alone.
Charlie,
Fine, I'll leave.
I wish I'd followed Charlie then, because the next day he left for work and never came back. It had been 24 hours since the explosion. Charlie was the only family I had, and all I wanted was to get him back so I could give him a proper goodbye. But the people at Biodin said they couldn't allow it till the police investigation was concluded. I was at my wit's end when the back door opened, and Nia walked in. She was a police officer and one of my closest friends, and what she told me next shook me.
Tucker, I have some news. According to the forensic reports, the person recovered at the explosion site at Biodin might not be Charlie.
What? How do you know?
I saw the report. The description doesn't match Charlie at all. We found some hair and nail samples at the site that match his DNA, but that's it.
So, you're saying Charlie could still be alive?
I don't know for sure, but I have a strong feeling he might be. And there's more. Curtis is shutting down the investigation. He's bribing people, silencing anyone trying to dig deeper. Even the police are backing off. Tuck, I think something terrible happened to Charlie, and Curtis is covering it up.
And blaming it on my brother. But I won't let him get away with this. Nia, I know it's a lot to ask, but will you help me expose the truth and find Charlie?
Are you sure about this? Curtis is powerful, and if he finds out we're after this, he won't hesitate to silence you.
Let him try. I'm not backing down. Nia and I racked our brains for our next move. I told her how Charlie had been under a lot of pressure recently, but with his laptop and research missing, we had no clue what he'd been working on, or why someone would want him gone. Charlie's coworkers weren't answering my calls, and it was clear that Curtis wasn't going to talk to us. Our only lead was Justin Braxton, Curtis's younger brother, who was studying at a top research facility in New York. Charlie once mentioned that Justin and Curtis were close, and he was also involved in some projects at Biodin. Apart from Curtis, if anyone knew what went on inside that place, it had to be Justin. So Nia pulled some strings, created a new identity for me, and got me accepted into the same program as Justin.
All right, listen. Justin needs to like you. He's a real piece of work. So stay cool no matter what. If anything feels off, back off immediately. Here's the address of your apartment. It's my friend's place, and I'm right across the street. And promise me, you'll always be careful.
Nia, I've got this. I know you're worried, but I can handle it. And how bad can this Justin be, really? Turns out, a lot. Justin was everything I hated. arrogant, rude, and full of himself. He walked around the facility like he owned the place, constantly reminding everyone that his family funded the institute, and went around belittling the professors and fellow researchers. I tried a few times to start a conversation and get close, but he always shot me down.
Don't waste your time. He doesn't talk to people like you.
I needed to try a different approach, so I started observing him closely and noticed a pattern. Every day after classes, Justin headed to the same downtown club, ordered his usual drink, and flirted with any woman in sight. He dropped his guard there, and Nia knew exactly how to take advantage of it.
I'm going to walk into that club, charm him, distract him, and clone his phone so we can track all his conversations. Sooner or later, he'll slip up, and that'll be our lead.
No way! It's too dangerous. What if he realizes it's a trap?
Do you have a better idea? We've been here a week, and all we know is he's a jerk with a thing for pretty faces. We need to move faster, Tuck. People in my department have started asking me questions.
Nia was right, but it still felt too risky. So while she approached Justin that evening, I stayed hidden behind a pillar, watching. She smoothly made her way over, asking if she could join him. And, as expected, Justin grinned from ear to ear. As Nia casually flirted with Justin, I felt a knot in my stomach. I'd always admired her confidence, but seeing her use it on Justin made me feel a bit jealous. Then I heard Nia ask Justin for a drink. He smiled and walked off, leaving his phone behind. Nia quickly pulled a small device from her pocket and connected it to Justin's phone. Within seconds, she cloned it and slipped the device back into her pocket just as Justin returned.
Thanks. So listen, I just got a call from a friend and I'll be heading out now. I had a great time though.
So soon? But we're only getting started. Just stay.
I don't think...
I said stay. You don't get to walk away unless I say so.
Justin's grip tightened around Nia's hand, and I walked out from behind the wall towards Justin's table. Hey man, she said she wants to leave.
And who the heck are you? Her knight in shining armor?
Nope, just someone who doesn't like seeing a woman forced to stay where she doesn't want to be.
Wait, I know you. You're that desperate little worm from college who keeps trying to talk to me. Are you stalking me now?
Don't kid yourself. I gave up trying to be friendly once I realized what a jerk you are. Now let her go. But Justin just got angrier and grabbed me by the collar. Just before he could throw a punch, some staff members intervened, and Justin scoffed and left. Once he was gone, I took Nia's hand and we both left that stupid club. We were waiting for the cab a few blocks away when Nia turned to me.
Are you okay?
Why wouldn't I be?
'Cause you're shaking with anger. Look, I know Justin crossed a line, but you shouldn't have come forward at all.
Justin was being so forceful with you. What did you expect me to do?
I'm a cop, Tucker. I can take care of myself, and we can't do anything that jeopardizes our mission. That being said, I appreciate the gesture, but no more of that, okay?
I'll try. The next few days were a blur. Nia and I spent hours tracing Justin's conversations, but they were mostly mundane conversations with his friends. We were getting nowhere, until one night, we finally heard something interesting.
Why are you calling me? It's not safe.
Don't worry about that. Just tell me, do you have what I asked you for?
Yes, of course I do. It's in the lab on the island. I figured that's the one place no one would look.
Meet me there tomorrow and hand everything over. After that, we'll both be free.
Before Justin could respond, the line went dead. Nia and I stared at each other in shock. It has to be Curtis. He's trying to get Justin to clean up whatever mess he's made. And this secret lab could have everything we need to expose him. Nia agreed, and the next evening, we tailed Justin to the docks, keeping a safe distance as he boarded the boat. While his bodyguards did a quick scan, Nia and I moved quickly and hid behind a stack of crates. Soon after, the engine rumbled to life, and the boat pulled away from the dock. After about an hour, the boat finally docked at the island and Justin got out. Nia and I hopped on some spare bicycles lying on the dock and followed Justin, but he was fast. We thought we'd lost him when we spotted his car outside a creepy-looking building. We hid behind the bushes close to the entrance, carefully noting every movement when this bee started buzzing around my face. Oh my God! Stupid frickin' bee!
Stop moving so much, Tuck.
I tried, but accidentally stepped on Nia's foot. She let out a small cry. And seconds later, we saw two guards heading our way with flashlights.
We have to take them out before they spot us.
Take them out with our fists?
No, genius. With this.
Nia reached into her jacket and pulled out a pistol. Before I could react, she leapt out of the bushes and knocked one guard out with the butt of her gun. The second guard lunged, but I tackled him, grabbing a rock and knocking him out too. We quickly hid the unconscious guards in the bushes and slipped inside the building. As Nia and I carefully scanned each room, we heard noises at the end of the hallway. We followed the sound and entered a creepy room filled with computers. Justin was standing in the center of the room with a group of men, one of whom was bald. But as he spoke, my heart nearly stopped. The voice was unmistakable. Charlie.
You've got something that belongs to me, Justin.
You mean this?
Justin flashed a pen drive, and Charlie lunged for it, but Justin pulled it back.
Quit playing games! You know how important this research is to me!
Yeah, but you see, now all of this research belongs to me, and I'm not giving it back. You promised me we'd make millions with the medicine you're working on, that I'd finally outshine Curtis. Instead, you left me to deal with the mess you made.
I left because your brother was threatening to sue me. He found out about our project and how the medicine we were making used ingredients that were illegally sourced. If I hadn't burned down that lab and everything else that tied me to this research, I would have gone to jail, and I would have dragged you with me.
Not like my life is any better now. Curtis found out that I funded your stupid little research behind his back, and now Dad has cut me off. I have to take care of myself now, and I've got buyers lined up, ready to pay top dollar for this research. You can't stop me.
That research is worthless without me. You sell it and they'll come after you when it fails. But if you hand it over to me, I will find the right buyer and pay you your share, as I promised.
Too bad I don't trust you.
Too bad you don't have a choice.
Charlie pulled out a gun and aimed it at Justin's head. Justin's guards immediately stepped in, guns drawn. As they were about to fire on Charlie, I leaped from behind the computers, throwing myself into the line of fire, narrowly dodging a bullet.
Tuck, what the?
No time! Run! Before Justin's guards fired again, Nia crept up from behind them and started taking the guards out one by one, while I grabbed Charlie and bolted for the exit. We were near the exit door when I looked behind and saw Nia running towards us. We burst outside, gasping for breath, only to see cops swarming towards us, with Curtis right behind them. They hadn't spotted Charlie yet, but they were closing in fast.
What the heck is Curtis doing here?
I called the police when we got to the island. I didn't know what kind of danger we were in, and I wanted backup. I had no idea they'd bring Curtis.
Are you out of your mind?
Don't yell at her, Charlie. She did the right thing. But you lied to me. I'm your only family, and you left me alone to weep over you. Do you have any idea what I've been through?
I did what I did for you, Tuck. I wanted you to have a better life, and only money could do that for us.
I didn't want any more money. I was happy with whatever we had. Please, just stop running and surrender, Charlie. I've already lost you once. I can't lose you again. Charlie looked at me with tears in his eyes. For a moment, I thought he might give in. Then he shoved me aside and bolted for the dock. Nia and I chased after Charlie as he jumped into a boat and sped away. We quickly grabbed one of the cops' boats and were right behind him, but Charlie was just tearing through the waters. Just then, we heard another police boat rumbling behind us, and before I could react, a gunshot rang out, and my heart sank. Without thinking, I jumped into the water, swimming frantically towards Charlie's boat. But the current was too strong and the water pulled me under, and then everything went dark. I woke up panicking, with no idea of where I was. The only memory I had was of Charlie getting shot. I screamed out his name, and suddenly, Nia came rushing to me.
Oh, thank God you're okay.
My brother, Charlie.
He escaped, Tuck. When you jumped into the water, we all tried to save you. And by the time we had more backup, Charlie's boat was gone.
But he was shot. I saw it. What if he was badly injured? What if he didn't make it? Nia held me close. When I finally calmed down, she filled me in. I'd been in a coma for a month, and a lot had happened. Curtis retracted his public statement about Charlie, apparently because he didn't want me to suffer more on his account. And Justin's dad shipped him off to some remote village in Mexico. And worst of all, I'd lost my brother again. But Nia stayed by my side till I was better, and after a few days, the doctor discharged me. As I waited inside the car for Nia to finish the formalities, my phone buzzed. I checked the message and nearly had an attack. Someone had transferred $2 million to my account. I immediately called my bank and they said the transfer happened anonymously, and they had no idea who it was. Maybe I didn't lose my brother after all.
My girlfriend Ella had never seen a shooting star, and I was pretty excited to show her some. But unfortunately, the night I tried,
stars were not the only thing shooting. The Perseids meteor shower is visible every August, but when you live in a suburb full of light pollution, it's harder to see. So we decided to drive out to the sticks for a darker sky. At midnight, it would only take about an hour. Bad choice number 1. Bad choice number 2, stopping because of Ella's sweet tooth. Why is a store a mile farther away than the middle of nowhere open at this hour?
For truckers and first-time stargazers who desperately need candy.
Only 2 vehicles were in the parking lot. Neither were trucks. One of them had a bumper sticker reading, "World's Best Grandma." The world's best grandma is up way past her bedtime. Ella laughed and hopped out of the car.
Want anything?
Yes, to keep going. We're almost there.
I need a sugar rush to stay awake.
The pleasure of my company should be all the sugar rush you need.
Almost. Be right back. If you change your mind about a snack, call me.
I glanced at my phone. No service. I glanced at the sky. No shooting stars. Obviously, the store was lit, but the surrounding area was almost pitch black. A few minutes passed and Ella didn't come out. Neither did the world's best grandma. So I went in. The door chimed. The store was small enough that I could see the whole thing from the entrance. Ella was not there. Neither was the world's best grandma. The cashier had a stool behind the counter but wasn't sitting in it. His hair looked a bit greasy and his eyes a bit beady. No surprise, he was working the late shift in no man's land. Not usually when people look their best. My girlfriend just came in here, but...
Probably in the bathroom?
That was odd. If I was working alone in a remote store, I'd be hyper aware of who came in or out. I went to the back and knocked on the door to the women's restroom. Ella? No answer. I looked back to the cashier, who looked away before our eyes met. I knocked again, and then cracked open the bathroom door. I realized the world's best grandma might also be in there, but I had no choice. Anyone in here? I heard the chime of the door again. I turned to see the cashier was outside. He came back in a moment later.
She just left in a hurry. I went out to tell her you were in the back looking for her.
This was getting creepier. How could Ella not have seen me? Why wouldn't the cashier just tell her I was inside before she went out? But she was out, and I wanted out, so I went out. On the way, I spotted something on the counter that I hadn't noticed before. A chunky bar? Ella's favorite candy. And no one else's. Raisins and chocolate. No thanks. She had gone to pay for it. Then something happened. I bolted to my car, but she wasn't there. Ella? Ella! I scanned the area. The emptiness just beyond the store was suddenly way more sinister. Ella wasn't the type to play a practical joke, especially not in a place like that. I speed walked around the parking lot, trying to pick up a signal, but the whole area was a dead zone. As soon as I thought the words, I wished I hadn't. Headlights appeared in the distance. I dashed to the edge of the road, turned on my phone's flashlight, and tried to flag down the car. It kept going. I think it even sped up. I wasn't the scary one. I noticed that the other car in the lot also had a bumper sticker. My child is an honor student at Harmon Middle School. Wait a second. That cashier's not old enough to have a middle schooler. And he's definitely not the world's best grandma. What is going on? Another car approached and I frantically waved my arms again. It too did not stop. Oh man, what is going on? No one answered, of course. I checked my trunk. Nothing in there but a few reusable shopping bags and an umbrella. The long kind, with the point at the end. Better than nothing. I grabbed it and went back inside, trying not to shake. The cashier was not at the counter, but probably heard the chime and came out from what I assume was the store office. I tried to discreetly steal a glimpse at what was in there, but he closed the door quickly.
Find her?
Obviously not.
It's not raining.
Still at the entrance, I raised the umbrella, pointing it at him. Look, I called the police. They'll be here any minute. Where is my girlfriend?
Buddy, I already told you she left.
I don't believe you.
Then we're even, because I don't believe you called the police. In fact, I know you didn't because no one gets service here.
Headlights swept across the parking lot. A trucker. I backed out of the store and ran to the big rig. Sir, I need help. My girlfriend went into the store and didn't come out. The cashier is super sus. The trucker looked at me like I was pranking him.
Not in the mood. Long night ahead of me.
The cashier greeted him. When he went to the coolers, the cashier glared at me. The trucker got an energy drink, a bag of chips, and for some reason, bug spray, then went to pay. I gestured to the cashier. Have you been here before? Do you know this guy?
As much as I know you.
The trucker strode out and I followed him.
The only one acting weird is you, kid.
Please, something happened to my girlfriend. I don't get cell service here. You still have a CB or whatever, right? Can you please call the police? Please! The trucker finally sensed that my desperation was genuine.
Okay, you better not be messing with me.
He climbed into the cab of his 18-wheeler and spoke into the CB. I couldn't hear what he said. He started the truck and rolled down the window.
Cops will be here in 20 minutes.
20 minutes? That's too long!
Best they can do.
Will you please wait till they come?
Sorry, I'm on the clock. Good luck. Hope she's okay.
I couldn't believe he would just leave, but not everyone is a hero. I also couldn't believe that another car pulled in a moment after the trucker was out of view. And I definitely couldn't believe that it was a kid from my school. Not a kid I knew well. Not to sound like a jerk, but I am kind of popular. And Josh isn't. But in that moment, he was my favorite person in the world. Josh!
Garrett? What are you doing here?
Do you have service?
Nope, just GPS. What's with the umbrella?
Dude, this is going to sound crazy, but I need your help. Ella and I came out to see the meteor shower.
Same.
But she went in there like 10 minutes ago and hasn't come out. I think the cashier has her in the back. Josh looked intently at me. I swear, I'm not kidding. I would not joke about something like this. I need to get into the little office behind the counter. Can you please help me?
I'm just grabbing a soda.
Police are on the way, but I can't wait. I'll buy you a soda. I'll buy you a soda every day of the school year. Please? Josh shook his head. I understood how insane I sounded.
You never talked to me in school. Now you want me to just trust like...
Sorry if I was ever a jerk to you, but this is serious. Josh sighed.
What's your plan?
I explained my totally random idea to him and somehow got him to go along with it. I went in first, still holding the umbrella. Again, the cashier was not in sight at first. And again, he then slithered out from the back room.
If you are not going to buy anything, you have to leave.
I'm buying something. I got a soda and another chunky. I put them on the counter next to Ella's chunky. At the same time, Josh came in and tried to size up the cashier without being obvious about it. I thought I saw the cashier's expression change, almost like he was onto us. Josh meandered through an aisle, absentmindedly picking up a canister. The cashier returned his attention to me. Oh, there's already a chunky on the counter. What a coincidence. How dumb did that sound? I felt that Josh had gotten in line behind me, according to plan. I hoped he'd followed through. I fished in my pocket for my phone to pay, but instead, whipped up the umbrella and snapped it open in the cashier's face.
What the?
He reached for something. Jeez, I hated being right. It was a handgun. I stepped to the side and Josh helped up the canister. As soon as I closed the umbrella, he sprayed a strong stream of hornet killer into the cashier's face. Both Josh and the cashier screamed. The cashier managed to fire off a single shot. A bullet hit the front window, which shattered. I swatted at him with the umbrella and managed to knock the gun out of his hand. He stumbled backwards, backing into a display of medications. He rubbed his eyes wildly and groaned.
You punks!
While he was temporarily, or permanently, I have no idea, blinded, I hopped over the counter, I opened the section of the counter that folded up, and kicked the gun into the store. It spiraled down an aisle, then I rushed into the office. Ella! She was tied to a chair and gagged. So was an older woman who was wearing a badge that read Tess. She was the real cashier.
Hurry!
I untied Ella, who hugged me, then untied Tess as I kept watch. The cashier had rushed to a sink near the hot foods and was splashing water on his eyes.
Thank God you found us, Garrett.
Tess looked terrified, yet deeply relieved. Besides a quivering thank you, she could barely speak. We've got to get out of here. The three of us scrambled out of the office and into the parking lot.
He aimed a gun at me and forced me into that room. She was already in there. I was so scared.
Cops are coming. Tess ran to her car. To my surprise, she was not the world's best grandma, but rather the honor student's parent. She thanked me again, then peeled out like a professional race car driver. As Josh drove by Ella and me, he rolled down his window. I owe you for life.
No, Just the sodas you promised.
He sped off. A police car pulled in as the cashier ran out, still rubbing his eyes. He was rambling about attacking him. He had a gun! But he wasn't holding it. 2 officers subdued him and cuffed him fairly easily. Given he was still incapacitated by the insecticide, they put him in the back of their car. They thanked us and explained that it's not uncommon for someone to hold up a remote store like that because it can take the police a while to get there. Turns out the world's best grandma car was the robber's. Well, he stole it. One officer questioned Ella while the other let me quickly buy something while she checked out the crime scene. I left a couple of bucks on the counter. Then the officers locked the store, even though the window was now open. They told us to get home safe. Then they left. Ella and I were alone again. I'm so sorry,
What are you talking about? And was that Josh? Saved us. I owe you for life.
You and your sweet tooth.
You and your shooting stars.
At that moment, we saw a streak crossing the sky. I revealed that I had just purchased a candy bar more fitting for the occasion and less disgusting than chunky. Milky Way.
Hands up, kiddo!
Wait, it's not what it seems.
Don't move!
Really, look at me. I'm more likely to be unpainting it. You have to believe me. Let me explain. Everything was nice and smooth in Vince Valley, our small town, until one morning when I woke up to my mom screaming at the TV.
They have to get him. I can't believe this.
Someone had stolen a statue from our local art museum, our most valuable statue, and the police had lost track of him. And then the next day, graffiti started appearing all over our neighborhood. Everyone thought they were just regular paintings, but the local police launched an operation to catch the culprit. You know how small towns are. Small problems, but a whole lot of drama. But I noticed something different. The graffiti was showing something, almost like someone was trying to send a message. The police were stumped, so it became a personal mission for me. Besides playing video games, I had nothing else to do. The graffiti followed a pattern, and I'm great at decoding things. Morse code? Got it. Transposition cipher? Easy peasy. I felt like I was inside Portal. I talked to my parents about it.
Oh, Alex, you're getting obsessed. All those video games you play.
And you're always looking for conspiracies. Remember when you thought the tooth fairy worked with your dentist and made a whole operation? This time it's different. There's something there. They follow a pattern. There might be some kind of code. That's how I ended up here, trying to explain everything to the police.
Oh, please. Shut up. You have the right to remain silent.
I did nothing.
Doing nothing at 10 p.m.?
Besides, we've seen you sneaking around the other graffiti.
I looked at the photo of the graffiti on my phone. The silhouette of the letters was different from the others. It showed a path to the train station, and the number 11 was written on it. What if something important was happening there at 11 p.m.? If the police took me to the station, I'd never make it on time. I stayed quiet, and when they stopped at the traffic light, I threw myself out. I ran as fast as I could to the train station. At times, I could hear the police sirens. They were after me. I got there and saw 3 men in long coats. Wait, what? Mr. Jenkins, the mayor? I got closer and hid to hear them.
You did it right. Now we'll put the statue in the black market and you'll get your half.
The men handed him a weird suitcase. I had a hunch. The statue was inside, and I had to get it. Video games taught me to be prepared. I pulled the hood of my jacket over my head and then took out my weapon, pepper spray. I sprayed them, grabbed the suitcase, and ran for my life. I ran as fast as I could and hid inside an abandoned warehouse near the station. I still heard the police sirens. I texted my friend Nick. Don't ask. You have to come and get me at the old supermarket right now. Come with your lights off. I knew the abandoned warehouse and the old supermarket were connected through an underground path. I went in terrified. I hadn't been this scared since playing Resident Evil. My heart was racing as I ran through the dark, dusty underground hall full of rats and nasty smells until I got out and met Nick.
What the heck?
Shh, don't ask. Drive us somewhere safe. A car crashed into us from behind. I turned around. It was the guy from the train station. Nick, come on. We have to lose them.
What have you done? This is mafia stuff. We need to get to the police.
No, the police are after me. Boom! They crashed into us again.
Oh, Jesus, my dad will kill me.
Nick took a back street to lose the car that was following us. We heard some loud noise and turned around to see the mafia guy had crashed his car into another. Nick, I owe you my life. We have to hide the car and walk to your house so they can't follow us. We sneaked into Nick's room through the window. I opened the suitcase. The statue was there, glowing.
What the heck?
The mayor was behind the robbery of the statue to get money.
Mr. Jenkins, are you
sure?
Remember the graffiti? They had codes. Someone's been trying to tell us the truth.
But who?
The next day, the town was shocked by the news. Someone had tried to attack the mayor at the train station. His secretary talked to the media people, affirming he was fine. That's when I noticed her shoes, which looked like they had a couple of splotches of paint on them. And that's when it suddenly clicked. Could she be the graffiti artist? I followed her all day until she arrived at her place. When she was about to open the door, I approached her. I need to talk to you.
Get inside, quickly.
She knew everything and was trying to tell the truth without revealing her identity because she was afraid to go up against the mayor alone. Together, we went to the police with the statue and all the evidence she had. The police obtained CCTV footage from the train station, which corroborated my story and showed the mayor and the three men about to exchange the same suitcase with the statue in it right before I grabbed it from them. Mr. Jenkins was arrested and his secretary ran for mayor. As for me, they put my photo in the museum for recovering the statue. Who would have thought that friends in video games could take me this far?